Dr. Jamil Ahmed Khan, former ambassador and foreign affairs expert, joins us online. Sir, thank you very much to have joined us. The relationship between Pakistan and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is time-tested and, of course, extremely strong and has further strengthened under the current government. What do you foresee as far as the relationship between the two countries is concerned, especially in the context of the recent visit of our Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif?
Going to gain a new trajectory of our relations. And there is no doubt our relations started from the inception of Pakistan. And ever since, it's only gained more strength. And the trajectory had gone high, particularly after 1970. All kinds of assistance, help, and collaboration from Saudi Arabia, we've been having it with each other. So this visit of the Prime Minister is going to further strengthen and further take the bilateral relations to the new trajectory. And by the way, the kind of changing geopolitical landscape which we are having around us and around in the globe, the environment is getting even better to collaborate further, not only with the Saudi Arabia whenever and whatever way we collaborate. In fact, we've been collaborating, and we are the two key members, the founder members of the OIC, and we've been supporting each other on most of the international political issues and on most of the political forums. So Saudi Arabia has always been there to help Pakistan, maybe the explosion which we made, the nuclear explosion test, maybe the flood, maybe the earthquake, whatever we name, Saudi Arabia was standing for it. And our Prime Minister, in fact, he also speaks English, by the way. That definitely eases out the modality of conversation. So, Prime Minister understands the psyche and the dynamics of the Gulf countries, and particularly Saudi Arabia. So,
all right, now let's talk, Jamil Saab. The Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud also held a meeting with our Premier Shehbaz Sharif Saab in Riyadh. We are also expected his visit to Pakistan soon. The Crown Prince is a person who thinks on future strategies. So does the current government. Do you feel that under the current context of the relationship between the two countries and the geostrategic and geopolitical changes that you yourself have mentioned, both countries can navigate together these new challenges to kind of counter them in an effective manner?
I think they are shaping up in that direction, and I would also refer to the recent OPEC decision with which some of the big powers, very important powers like the United States, they were not very happy about it. And there are some senators who have already made their statements that they should stop supply of the weapons. And here I will also draw your attention and the attention of your viewer that we've been not only assisting Saudi Arabia, but we have been collaborating in all respects so far as the defense collaboration is concerned, and it started right from 77, 78 onward. We've been training their troops. We have the agreement of 1982, whereby we can physically, and we have been sending physical troops there for supporting an internal security. So Saudi Arabia relies on Pakistan on its internal security also, and Pakistan has always stood tall on that particular aspect of Saudi Arabia. So having that in mind and having the new geopolitical landscape, it is quite natural to analyze, and people like myself, we can very conveniently feel and see that the new trajectory of a relation would yield its results and also would be beneficial for both the countries in the coming days. And with this visit,
Dr.
of the Prime Minister,
the economy of our country is also in dire need of help, of cooperation with other important countries. Do you feel that now that our Prime Minister has also highlighted that and much more at the Future Investment Initiative Summit and has said that Pakistan is open for business, do you feel that the Saudi entrepreneurs, Saudi businessmen will come to Pakistan?
Such a great advantage. You know, this very platform of the Future Investment Initiative conference. This was a sixth conference, and imagine there were 6,000 delegates who were present there from all over the world. And they have the quest for the investment around the world. They're looking for it, right? And Prime Minister mentioning all the salient features. And not only 6,000 delegates, but also there were 500 speakers from around the world giving their views about the opening of the avenue for the investment. And Prime Minister's speech mentioning about the youth, yes, Pakistan, 120 million youth in Pakistan. Most of them have their mobile phone. That means they are quite savvy of the use of internet. And anyone who can use internet can also get into the innovation and the new technology. And that's what the Prime Minister also mentioned. And this is the fourth popular country where the freelancing is happening. So there are other factors also which Prime Minister has mentioned there. And the youth, the way the youth have the tendency, and this is what the Prime Minister mentioned there. Youth have the tendency of not going for the traditional business, but to go for the innovative business and the entrepreneurship. So all these points which Prime Minister mentioned there, it definitely is an attraction for those 6,000 delegates over there. Besides Saudi Arabia, we have a pilot relations with Saudi Arabia. We have the strategic relations with Saudi Arabia. But besides that, 6,000 delegates, they have heard the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister has also mentioned the way he wants to facilitate the investors. We understand that we have certain difficulties in our country, but the security situation is much better than what it was a couple of years ago. And from that standpoint, and also very recently we have come out from the FATF grey list. So that's a plus point, although the French has downgraded our rating, but that could be taken care of subsequently. So the upgradation of bilateral relation ties with this visit definitely has is quite imminent. What would we say? And then, as you mentioned, the visit of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, which I can envisage that it's just a matter of just 1 or 2 months that he would be visiting Pakistan, is going to be quite cardinal visit under the fact that the way things are changing around us in the regional geopolitical scenario and the global geopolitical scenario. Our
now,
defense
speaking of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Dr. Jamil, the fact remains that both him and the current government and our Prime Minister have this desire to move towards clean energy. Do you feel both countries could also work in that aspect together and in collaboration with other countries as well?
No, clean energy not only helps the investor, but also clean energy is a requirement of the Paris Accord, right? And the Paris Accord, less greenhouse emissions, less carbon emissions, and also it's quite profiting. That's the future world. If Pakistan is the carbon emission country, which we are not, we're just less than 1%, but any other country for that matter. So it's going to impact the regional countries accordingly. Saudi Arabia, in fact, has a Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, King Salman, Prince Salman, Mohammed bin Salman. He is quite fond of new innovation and quite fond of the new technology, quite fond of the clean energy. So from that standpoint, I can very conveniently feel that during his forthcoming visit, we'll further consolidate all these points which the Prime Minister has discussed and mentioned during the conference in his speech.
Small and medium enterprises also, Jamil Saab, play a very important role in driving the economy of any country. Do you feel both our countries could also work in that respect? I mean, after the visit of our Premier and of course, inshallah, after the visit of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, do you feel that that will further be strengthened, new avenues could be looked upon?
That's the name of the game in any country, small and medium entrepreneurship, without which no country can really progress the way they should progress. And all the countries, even the West, they had progress starting from the small and medium. And even today, they're having, and that's the way we can really have our way forward. And Saudi Arabia, because of our manpower, and as Prime Minister mentioned, the youth, what we have in this country, 120 million youth in this country, there is strength and their power can be harnessed towards small and medium, and also towards the entrepreneurship. So from that standpoint, yes, the forthcoming visit would definitely address this very aspect of it, it appears. And not only that, but the human resource. The population of the West is receding, whereas Pakistan has a sufficient population, the youth population, and they can take care of the human resource of all the big industries, even the new technologies. Once I was ambassador in UAE, I submitted a proposal to the government, and I'm again going to suggest that once again, that we can have a forward contract with some of the countries who definitely need the human resource, and human resource of the kind and quality what they need. As a matter of fact, today we have human resource in Saudi Arabia, more than 2 million people, sending us about $6 billion per annum. Right, and if we develop our human resource as an industry, through the companies and through the required certification standard of the world, like GALT, like ISO, other standards, I tell you, sky is the limit. And probably the government is going to explore those possibilities. And Prime Minister, once he was the Chief Minister, I know from my personal knowledge the kind of personal interest he had taken in the vocational training. And vocational training is actually the main asset which we can utilize for deployment of the human capital in the technology and in other industries and in those countries where the population is receding. And that's how we can not only take care of the unemployment, but also we can take care of the foreign remittances, which is a low-hanging fruit. Of course, we should go for the industrialization.
That is true. But nevertheless, Ambassador Jamil Sahab, do you feel that Pakistan needs to ascertain and look at the different avenues that are needed by countries such as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and then train the youth effectively as per the number of people that are required in a particular field?
You see, in the present day world, you have a software. You can even manually do it. What you can do it is do the projection of next 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. And accordingly, you can make your plan. The countries can make their plan how to prepare those through the vocational training school. I have some figures in my mind, but that would probably consume more time, where we have sufficient vocational training centers in our country. All what is needed is just to find out the requirement, project those requirements for next 20 years, prepare our human capital according to that, and start, because that's our strength. That's a low-hanging fruit. It doesn't involve much investment. And that's how we can start earning some of our foreign exchange very quickly and very easily. There are other ways also, but this 6,000 people were present and listened to the Prime Minister's speech. All what we are discussing at this program, they are the points which could be considered by those 6,000 delegations who were there in that.
Now, you were speaking of the Future Investment Initiative Summit that happened in Riyadh, where our Prime Minister addressed, as you said, 6,000 delegates that were present there from all across the world. He talked about one thing, and I'd like your point of view on that. He said, quote unquote, Pakistan is ripe for market innovation. A new generation of Pakistani entrepreneurs are shying away from traditional businesses and turning their focus and energies to disruptive innovations. Innovative and bold steps in technological fields. How important is that for Pakistan and a more stable and concrete relationship with countries such as the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
I think that's a very good strength with us, and the Gulf countries. If you recall this country and those people of my age group, they recall the way we helped the Gulf countries, including UAE. Or what you see UAE today, they admit, while I was ambassador in UAE, they have been mentioning it to me, the way Pakistanis and Pakistan help them out. And what you see in UAE, including the banking system and all these tall buildings and all the initial systems which were set up, that was set up by Pakistanis. Today, what all we need is to upgrade our skills. And what Prime Minister had mentioned about our youth and about the kind of the skills which our youth can be empowered with, and they already have that, and they're shying away with the traditional kind of businesses which are there. So they have a quest. Our youth has a quest to have the innovation. Our youth have the quest to really go for these 21st century technology. All what we need, and the good news is that I see so many companies, they have their incubators now and they're inviting youth. What it is needed is that the government should now patronize it more than what they are doing now, because that is where we have our strength, and we should capitalize on our strength, as a matter of fact. And this youth, basically, if we don't capitalize them, so they, instead of asset, they can become a liability. So before they become a liability, over a period of time, we should try and save that and turn it into our asset. And that's how we can turn into our asset what the points which Prime Minister has mentioned during his speech there.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Jamil Khan, former ambassador and of course foreign affairs expert, to have joined us.